Hey, I'm Dr. Bill Dorfman. I have here with me Mark Lack, and this is our first in what I hope to be a series of our weekly mentor moments of wisdom. The idea behind this is that every year we get about 400 kids coming to our LEAP program. LEAP is a motivational leadership program for high school and college students aged 15 to 25. And we put on a one-week program. The next program is going to be at UCLA, August 23rd to the 29th. And it's going to be our 10-year anniversary, so it's going to be big. We already have commitments from some really, really powerful speakers. Of course, we can't confirm them because things change along the way, but one of them might be Mark Wahlberg, and one of them might be Paula Abdul, and another might be like Juliana Huff, but we can't confirm that. But anyhow, the idea is that LEAP is a program that culminates on Friday of the week of LEAP with these amazing mentors coming, and we do what we call our mentor roundtable. And basically what happens is a mentor, and these are people from all walks of life. We have doctors and lawyers and firefighters and teachers and all kinds of people. They sit at a table, and the students get to literally sit at the table and ask questions. How did you get into your career? What were your biggest challenges? And on and on and on and on. And we find this to be the most powerful part of LEAP. So our thinking was, let's bring this to you every week leading up to LEAP. And every week we're going to bring another amazing mentor. Now, I'm really, really excited about having Mark here today because Mark isn't just a mentor, but Mark and his business partner, Ryan, have been working with LEAP now for, 3 years?
Yep.
And I met Mark when he was speaking at Metal. And Metal is a men's networking group that I go to on the weekends. And Mark was up on stage. He had just written a book called Shorten the Gap, and he'll tell you a little bit about that. But it's basically a culmination of about 200 self-help books, Good to Great, and all these others, where he kind of condensed them into one book. And this is like what you need to know if you read that book. He's also the host on Business Rockstars, which is on KDOC. And he does that show daily where he interviews people, and he's a motivational speaker, he's a coach, and he's a huge, huge supporter of LEAP. We are in the LEAP office right now, and I'm going to let these guys just kind of pan around the office so you can see, but we have a whole team of people here. We meet here every week for the year, bringing everything we need to get together to make LEAP a successful program. It all happens here. So this is part of our every Wednesday morning meeting. And now, I'd like to introduce you to Mark Lack. Thank you for being here, Mark.
Thank you, Bill.
And you've been in this space for how long now? Where you've been doing like self-help and motivation, all that for how long?
8 years.
For 8 years. So you started when you were 3.
No, about 18.
And you've spoken over 1,000 times. You've interviewed over 1,000 people. If you were going to talk to young people that were coming to LEAP and they said to you, Mark, what would you say is the single biggest factor that contributed to your success? What would it be?
Fantastic question. First, I want to thank Bill because he's such an incredible person, and he doesn't have to be doing the LEAP Foundation, but he does because he's one of the very few successful people out there that I know that stands and represents for contribution and giving back. To answer your question, what is the single most important thing that I believe attributes to somebody's success? By the way, guys, if you're liking this, smash the likes and the hearts. I see the amazing team standing behind the cameras here telling us. And if you guys have questions, engage. We'll answer them for you. The single most important thing that is attributed to my success, but more importantly, to so many other people's success, and will for you as well, is an acronym called CANI, C-A-N-I, Constant and Never-Ending Improvement. Many of us believe that education stops when we graduate college because then you go to work. And unless the work is providing you education, you're really just working. You're not educating yourself. But in reality, education needs to be and should be the foundation of your life, even if it means you're only reading a book, going to a seminar, 30 minutes a day or once a week or once a month. Education forever in all areas of your life, relationships, mindset, emotional mastery, health, business, whatever your career may be, just simply educating yourself on a variety of things that attribute to your happiness, health, and wealth. That is the key to success in all areas of your life, not just financially, because at the end of the day, you can make money, but if your health or your relationships are being, deteriorized, or at the end of the day, if your relationships with your family, your friends, your children, if they're not where they should be, success financially means nothing. So if I had to answer your question, again, to recap, constant and never-ending improvement in educating yourself in all areas of your life to make small incremental improvements in every area forever, that's the key to success and happiness.
And I couldn't agree more. In fact, two of the things that I kind of hammer into students' heads over and over and over again at LEAP is, number one, don't wait for opportunities in life. You can wait until you die and you'll never do something. Make opportunities. But number two, when you do get an opportunity, don't take it, master it. And there's a huge difference. I never intended to be on TV. I was going to be a dentist my whole life. When I got the opportunity to be on ABC's Extreme Makeover and I saw what an impact that made on our business and on cosmetic dentistry, I thought, if I'm going to do this, I want to be good at it. So I took acting classes, hosting classes, and all these things because I wasn't just going to do it. I wasn't just going to mail it in. I wanted to kill it, and I did everything I could to make that happen. So education is so important throughout your life. When you get an opportunity to do something, do it well. So what do you think is kind of the biggest obstacle to your generation's success? Because your generation and my generation are like from two different planets. Like, I work with millennials and I'm like, what's going on there? I mean, what do you think the biggest challenges are today to success for millennials?
I think there's a couple. I could probably go through a list. One of the things I think that a lot of millennials struggle with is the comparison game. I think a lot of millennials compare themselves to other millennials that are more successful than them. And there's only two things that happen when you compare yourself. Either A, you're comparing yourself to somebody more successful than you, and then you feel bad about where you are in life. Or B, am I comparing myself to somebody who's more successful than me, and it's making me feel like maybe where I'm at and what I'm doing is not good enough? Or am I comparing myself to somebody lower than me just to make myself feel better about where I am? I fall into this all the time. I see people that are ultra successful and I'm like, oh, I'm not making $100 million this year? That sucks. And then I realize, or I compare myself to somebody else and go, oh, but I'm doing better than a lot of the kids my age. I do the same thing, and it's something that I think a lot of millennials make a mistake of. Not just millennials, I think everybody makes that mistake. But I think millennials make that mistake a lot because nowadays we live in an era where an 18-year-old kid starts an app and it gets bought for $1 billion and he made it in his parents' basement. That's not normal, but we see that happening, and so this goes into the second thing I think millennials make a mistake of, and that is millennials think things are too easy. And what I mean by that is we have a sense, and I'll put myself in there because I'm a millennial, we have a sense of entitlement because our parents grew up where they had to work really, really hard for the things they have. They didn't grow up with the ability to access anything via the internet and have information and answers and Google at their fingertips. They couldn't communicate with people around the world instantaneously, get a message around the world instantaneously, have a video go viral. That word wasn't even created yet. And so we live in an era where literally Ryan, who's sitting behind the camera, we saw this kid named Maddie B. Raps. That's like a 13-year-old kid I've never heard of in my life we stumbled across the other day. Kid's got 7.3 million subscribers on YouTube. I never even heard of him. He's like a 13-year-old little rapper. Like, we see that and we go, oh, well, again, then the comparison game comes in. I'm 13. I, too, should be doing something like that. And so I'm not going to go get a job or I'm not going to do well in school because I can be an overnight sensation. I can be an overnight success. So I think the thing that a lot of millennials struggle with is we just are in a different world, but our parents came from a different world, and so we have this inner conflict about our model of the world of what's possible. Our parents are telling us one thing: do well in school, go get a job, retire at 65, be happy, have a successful career, and have job certainty and security. But then on the internet, we're getting targeted by friends of mine like Ty Lopez, who you've probably seen. I'm here in my garage with my Lamborghini and my helicopter. And so we have this inner conflict. Do I go out and become an internet sensation or start my own business and have the laptop lifestyle? Or do I do what my parents are saying and get good grades and go and get a job? And so we have this weird balance that we're trying to have as millennials where we see these people that are celebrities and millionaires online and didn't go to school, and then we see our parents over here telling us, job security, get an internship, do well in school, go get a job. And so I think millennials just have this weird paradigm of the baby boomers generation, which have conditioned us for our reality, but then we're growing up with technology at our fingertips and millionaires overnight and billion-dollar apps being sold by kids in high school, just crazy stuff. So I think millennials just really need to focus on what I said earlier, is constantly improving yourself and focus on the life that you want to create for yourself, and then ask yourself, who do I need to become to live that life? At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what's going on in your life if you just get really clear on where you want to be, what you want to achieve, and figure out who you need to become to make that happen. Something that unfortunately is not taught at school. It is taught in great detail at the LEAP Foundation. So if you're somebody who's 15 to 25 and you want to get more clarity, get more direction about what it is that you want to do in life, then you've got to come to the LEAP Foundation. We'll talk more about that, but there's so many things that we teach. We're just covering some of it now. Somebody's asking a question, they're pointing up here. What books have impacted you the most? Do you have something you want to share? Oh, I got a bunch I can share.
Yeah, I will. I just want to finish up with this because I think it's so important. I'm so glad you said that, because coming from me, it sounds bad. Coming from you, now I'm going to reinforce it. I literally have students at LEAP and outside LEAP come up to me all the time and say, Dr. Bill, what's the secret for success? It's like they want a pill or a shot or something. And I always stop. I work your butt off. I mean, you think the Kardashians don't work hard? They do. You don't see all the behind the scenes stuff. And I'm not promoting them or, but I'm telling you, everybody I know that comes to me that's successful works hard. And if you do everything that Mark said, but you really put your heart and soul in it, it's not just identifying what you want to be and where you want to go. You need to work hard to make that happen. And then you have a great chance for success.
So to answer the question, what books have impacted you the most? If you've got a couple, Sam. For me, there's a lot. I'll just say a couple of them. Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. Having
Good
It All.
to Great.
Good to Great.
Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow
all
Rich.
the classics.
Never Eat Alone, Keith Ferrazzi, who's somebody who spoke at LEAP. So if you like him, these are the speakers you could have access to if you come to the LEAP Foundation.
Billion Dollar Smile.
Billion Dollar Smile by Dr. Bill Dorfman. What's some other ones? How to Get Everything You Can Out of All You've Got by Jay Abraham. There's so many. I hope those are valuable for you guys. Check those out. Let's keep diving forward here. If you guys have questions, by the way, keep hitting the likes and the hearts if you guys are enjoying this. And again, they're telling us what questions you guys are posting, and we'll answer them for you. So engage with us. And you got the billion-dollar dentist over here whose company has done over $1 billion in sales and sold it for, I can't even disclose how much unless you want to, but we got the billion-dollar dentist here. And then if you want to get some advice, if you're a young millennial, if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, you are an entrepreneur, engage with us, guys. I see we're getting some thumbs up back there. Keep hitting the likes and the hearts so we know you guys are loving this. And again, you have an opportunity right now, as if you're sitting in the room with us. Ask us questions.
So I see a question here, Mark. So what's your favorite part of LEAP?
My favorite part of LEAP, that's a fantastic question. I always try to articulate to people about LEAP. They go, well, what is this amazing LEAP program I see you always talking about? It's so tough to convey what LEAP is because LEAP is an experience. And so for me, my favorite part about LEAP is just truly the experience. And if you come to the program, if you've been to the program, comment, hit the likes and the hearts so we know you guys have been there. Let us know that you've either heard us talk about it or you've been there and you've experienced it too. Maybe we've got some LEAP kids watching right now. We've got 3 live streams going. Share with the audience right now, what has your LEAP experience been so people can have an idea. For me, it's the LEAP experience, but more importantly than that, as a speaker and as somebody who works hard year-round with the amazing team sitting behind the cameras right now, we know how hard we work year-round to make this experience something special for you. And so for me, from my unique perspective, it's sitting down with the kids. It's hearing from them how much LEAP has impacted them. We have kids come to the program, as you know, and they know better than I do because you guys have been doing this longer. But we have kids come to the program, oh, my parents dragged me here. And I love hearing that because in 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, I know I'm going to find that kid and I'm going to ask them the question, how's LEAP been so far? And they are either crying, they hug you, they say, thank you so much for putting this on. It's truly an experience that doesn't just educate kids. It doesn't just connect them with other like-minded peers and expose them to mentors and speakers that they would have never had access to in school. It truly changes kids' lives. And That's my favorite part.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mark.
That's my favorite part of the program, is that it changes kids' lives, and I get to see kids come in with their arms crossed. I don't want to be here. And then on the last day of the program, they're crying. I don't want to leave. I've got my new best friends here.
So here's a few more questions. I will, by the way, tell you who our next speaker is for next week. James, can you get that bio for me for Ginger so I can give that to everybody? One of the questions I'm seeing is, Dr. Bill, why did you get involved with LEAP? I've been doing this program for over 20 years, actually. It started off as another program where I was actually called in to be a mentor, and I would come every year and I would, speak to kids, because I didn't have a regular dentist career. I mean, in addition to being a dentist, I was a New York Times best-selling author. I was on Extreme Makeover. I was doing all these other things and helping run a huge dental company, Discus Dental, that makes Nightlight and Zoom and Bright Smile and all these things. And the reason why I got so infatuated with and attached to this program is that, we've raised over $40 million for children's hospitals and children's charities through Discus Dental and the Crown Council and all these groups that we've worked with. But it was never a real tangible experience. Yeah, I took my kids on humanitarian trips and we got to, work with kids, but this was an opportunity to really see young adults grow, to see them blossom, and to see them really live up to their potential. And for me, that was the greatest thing. So we're seeing a few other questions. Mark,
so we got a couple more questions coming in. First, if this was an audience, I'd say give it up for Dr. Bill Dorfman for all the contribution he's made in the world. We got a couple minutes left. Guys, I want to run over a little bit. We don't need to keep these things all in 20, so we'll give a few more minutes. We'll answer some of those questions in a sec. I want to ask you a question. We'll try to keep it short, though, so we can stay on track. For the people out there, he built his company to $176 million a year. That's right?
That was our highest growth.
The highest year. $176 million a year. So I want to ask
Selling goop.
Selling goop to white people's teeth. So you want to talk about somebody who's got amazing entrepreneurial and business advice. Short and sweet so we can stay on track here. What do you feel like was one or some of the keys that helped you guys get to, from zero, I know you went from 1 million, 2 million, 4 million, 8 million, 16 million, and eventually to 176 million a year? How? Why?
It was like a perfect storm. Everything came together in the right way. One of my best friends in life, Robert Heyman, grew up in the cosmetic industry. His father, the late Fred Heyman, who we just lost, built a huge empire, Giorgio Cosmetics. And I think that when you start to build a business, one of the things you have to do is really sit down and look yourself in the mirror and say, what can I do and what can't I do? I knew dentistry. I knew marketing. I didn't know manufacturing. I didn't know mass marketing, And then I meet this guy. We become best friends. And, he grew up in the cosmetic industry. He was an MBA. He knew marketing. He knew retail. He knew how to manufacture. And I knew there was a need. There were no great whitening products out there. And Robert and I joined forces, and we built this company. And, it was crazy. We did 2 million, 4 million, 8 million, 16. And at a certain point, I'm like, I need to go back to UCLA and learn how to run a business, because I only know how to run a dental office. And I think it was what we've been talking about is, as we went along, we hired Chiat Day, like a great advertising agency, and then we learned that business so well that we were better than Chiat Day at marketing and advertising to our dentists. And I think one of the biggest advantages we have is we were up against the biggest companies in dentistry. We were so nimble. We could change and maneuver so quickly that we could outmarket them. We could, outperform them time and time again, because when Robert and I came up with an idea, we just did it. And if it didn't work, we were nimble enough that we could change it really quickly to make it work. So I think that was one of our biggest things. I'll give you a spoiler alert. I just got cast on a new show that's supposed to, if